Welcome to the Growth Series podcast, where we explore how AI and innovation are transforming industries and driving business growth. I'm your host, Josh Jackson, founder of the Red Letter AI, where we help coaching and consulting businesses scale their revenue. Each week, we sit down with industry leaders to uncover the strategies and technologies reshaping uh, how business growth and succeed in today's rapidly evolving market. My guest today is Brent Clouse, a man who has gone from the heights of the sports world to the heights of the business world, and along the way has impacted hundreds of thousands of lives. As the executive VP of effective presentations for more than 16 years, Woody has helped Fortune 500 executives, entrepreneurs, and everyday professionals transform their ability to communicate with confidence and clarity. Born in East Africa to a horse whisperer and a human rights activist, Woody brings a global perspective and a gift for helping people discover their own power in the moment. Whether it's overcoming adversity, mastering performance, or simply standing taller in the front of the room, Woody has spent 35 years proving that communication, if done properly, is the greatest single accelerator to success. If you've ever wanted to command the room, this is the conversation you can't afford to miss. Woody, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you. That sounds great. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about your background and your journey that has led you here to us at the Red Letter Growth Podcast.
Well, I was a little kid on a farm with my father and wanting to get out of the chores that I had to work every morning. So the deal was that once I finished the chores, I got to go to the the fitness club that had racquetball courts and tennis courts and had a pool and had my friends there. So I'd wake up at sunrise and get all the chores done, and as soon as that was the case, then I would go to the club and start playing racquetball with my buddies, and that led to a professional career in racquetball, and that led to um, a exposure of understanding what you're communicating and what you're not communicating and how to communicate, and ensuring that your message is clear, and controlling your temper in a way that my dad used to say, if you don't control your temper controls you. And that was uh, during the height of racquetball. There was a lot of temperamental guys, and our examples and people to look up to was either your John McEnroe's, or your Jimmy Connors was another guy.
Right.
And so the emotional stability of these guys was pretty fiery. They weren't afraid to show their emotions and carry their emotions on their sleeve. And it was a height and emotional time where your character and your personal opinion of who you were wasn't just um, designated to how you behaved on the court, which today they could show a snippet of somebody blowing up and it goes viral, and all of a sudden that's who that person is, when in actuality they're really a kind, loving person. They're just overly competitive and overly vested in the outcome of that match, so their temper gets the better of them. But that professional career led to meeting the founder of Effective Presentations, which evolved into a more permanent position with the company, and once again maintaining consistency with messaging, making sure that your words were purposeful and that you're engaging in your speech and your delivery, and making sure that you're really empowering the people around you so they can be engaged in a way that they feel like they're a part of what is happening, opposed to just spectators.
Mhm.
So that gives you a little bit of a background, I think.
Yeah, no, it does. And I would love to dive into like your profession right now. You've been doing it for decades. And like when you zoom out and look at the macro level, what major shifts or trends are shaping the future of the industry with, presentations? Because I mean, we all do presentations at some point.
Yeah, is the most recent, I think, big push that's happening is allowing AI to write speeches for you, where you can go into Chat GPT and put in a very quick instructional guidance of what you want, and it spits out a pretty good solution to whatever you're looking for. And I think that that's really great. There on many levels. What isn't great is you don't want to have it lose who you are as a person, and you don't want to have it take your authenticity away, and you don't want it to uh, alter the message that you may have had. So
Mhm.
when you start with a speech and you have a specific message, regardless of what that message is, and then you put the instructions into GPT or Chat GPT or any AI software that's going to develop that dialogue, is it really you, and are you allowing it, or is slowing it down and having maybe 3 or 4 rewrites much more appropriate in the approach? And I think that rewriting is really the remedy to benefiting from AI, as you also don't lose yourself in the messaging, and you don't lose yourself in the delivery, and you as a human doesn't get lost in that authenticity of really what it is that you're saying, because authenticity is felt,
Mhm.
and nobody's ever hugged a computer and felt the same way of hugging a human. It just seems unrealistic, but yet we're progressively going down a path that would say that you can be emotionally connected through AI, which I have very strong feelings that that's just never going to happen. It feels good to shake a hand. It feels good to get a hug. So when you're utilizing AI in a presentation, make sure that you don't get lost in that presentation, and make sure that the editing is still consistent with who you are and who your DNA says you are. And I will always be, for my own perspective and how I was raised. Um, my mom was a scholar, and she spoke in a certain way, and I can't help but speak in a similar way. And my dad was really simple
Mhm.
and really a very animal country, uh, kind of connected to simplicity, and was really consistent about that. So being a rancher, and never really using a clock, it was sun up to sundown, pretty simple.
Mhm.
Where my mom had much more structure in her life in terms of scheduling and appointments and class times and things of that nature. So I'm a blend of both, and that should never be lost, because if it's lost, then who I am as a person is. So maybe a long-winded answer to your question, but I think maintaining that human connection while you're allowing AI to do its magic, because it is magical and it is powerful and it is efficient, but it's also not human. So there you go.
No, I agree with you 100%. And you said so many amazing, you had so many amazing gold nuggets in there. I don't even know which one to pick first. But what I will say is I agree with you. I think most people can get lazy and they use ChatGPT and they copy paste and then they do it. So like you said, like, are you going to let your temper control you, or your temper if you don't, then your temper is going to control you, right? So in this case,
Yeah,
ChatGPT AI is a tool. You need to control the tool. The tool can't control you.
well said. Great point. Great point. Yeah, that I really like the way you put that, and that's exactly how I feel as well. Is AI isn't human, and it doesn't what and this is my perception, it doesn't have a soul. It
No,
has a programming.
right. It's good
And
information in, good information out.
exactly.
It's a
Yeah.
tool. You want to build your house, you need a hammer. A hammer's not going to build a house. You're going to build a house, but you got to use the tools to help you achieve your outcome. And AI can 100% do that used properly.
Yeah, I think so. And it and within every speech or presentation or dialogue, it's invaluable to be externally focused, not so
Mhm.
much on you, but what the other person, not just what they want to hear, but what are they hearing, and what message are you sending, and what kind of clarity is coming with that, and to maintain that level of curiosity, and to search for understanding before you seek anything else. So prior to any presentation, obviously the importance of knowing your audience is vital. But if you go deeper than that and you say, okay, knowing what your audience is hearing, knowing how they're responding to it, knowing when to adjust to maintain consistency with the message and to maintain that connection is huge. Comedians do a brilliant job of this. The good ones, they really uh, have a feel for how the room is responding, and they can massage that feel in a way that keeps them really connected. And the best ones just do a brilliant job of it. And I think they're the best example of it because many other top CEOs do an equally as good of job. They just do it in a private setting where those speeches and those presentations are not publicly available. You know,
Hmm.
where they're the phones are off and it's in a private setting, so they don't get the same kind of social media coverage. But they're doing the same thing, which I think is the point here.
Yeah. So, just kind of one follow-up question is, if we're having this conversation 5 years from now, what do you think is going to look different, completely different, and what do you think will stay the exact same?
Wow, that's a great question. Well, I think 5 years from now, we're going to see a huge shift in the workforce because a lot of the workforce is going to roll over and there's going to be massive changes in the workforce. I think the efficiency of delivery of product is going to be infinitely quicker and faster, and those expectations are going to be coming much higher. I think there's going to be a greater expectation for performance because the utilization of these tools would then come with the assumption that the work is much more polished. So I think that there's and if we were to compare the delivery of presentations and the delivery of communication now to 5 years ago, we have a seamless ability to get in front of each other via video, where that level of expectation 5 years ago was very different, where there was much more expectation that you would have to prepare for the software that's being used, and it wouldn't be as seamless as it is now, where now it's just a few minutes, and if you're running a few minutes behind a meeting, that's okay. Where 5 years ago you might have to reschedule because you're having technical issues that just doesn't allow you to be in the meeting at this time. So that was 5 years ago, but now it's now a few minutes. The receiving party of the meeting just sits tight for a couple of minutes and the other person works it out. Where I think in 5 years it's going to be that much more advanced, and there's going to be that greater sense of expectation that the product is delivered in a seamless manner that seems more polished than it does now, and that the dialogue is more well rehearsed and not as clumsy.
Hmm.
Where right now there's an allowance for the dialogue to be a little bit clumsy unless it's a public presentation. Where I think there's the thing that I'm not sure about that I'm hoping is improved is the understanding of the importance of the human connection, where the exchange of human dialogue is much better, where we're starting to see this now, where we don't rely on white papers the same way we used to 5 years ago. White paper was a big deal. Read through it and read what's going on. Where now it's been condensed to videos, and now you could watch a video within 5-10 minutes that you'd have to spend an hour and a half reading white papers on. So I think that progression is gonna continue to improve.
Yeah, and even take it one step further, AI is now taking those white papers to a video to, I need this done, and it's going to do it for you instantly.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
Mind-boggling. But you're right about the human connection, and I'll give an example that I always give about this because I have a philosophy of the last 20 some years of high tech, high touch, right? Use high tech, but you have high touch. And I use the example, I got my start in mortgages a long time ago with Quicken Loans, which is now known as Rocket, right?
yep,
And Zillow tried to do mortgages and they were not successful. So why was Quicken Loans successful? Because we had the human connection. People want to talk to people when it talks to their mortgage, even though it's numbers and a computer can run numbers and give you the numbers, you still need that human connection for a lot of things, and people still desire that. So I don't think that's going to go away, but the delivery mechanisms, will definitely change.
yeah. It's traveling at such a rate that it's beyond my comprehension with how fast it's really traveling. And the recent doubling down of Elon Musk's purchase of over a billion more shares of his own stock to get that $1 trillion salary, it, I think, shows that much more commitment to the advancement of technology. And like Elon or not, that's a here nor there kind of type of conversation. It's really somebody that has that much vested in the advancement of technology
Hmm.
is really stepping up to the plate and showing beyond a shadow of a doubt the level of involvement that and commitment he has to seeing it evolve in a way that I think very few of us can see. I
Yeah.
mean, I think he sees things in such a way that a normal brain can't, and I'm speaking of myself.
Many
you know,
brains can't think like his, so
no, no, but and he's great at delivering his message in a very simple, way that is not convoluted, and it's in simple language, but his dialogue is also very calculated with how he communicates. There's multiple pauses, there's multiple thoughts, and it's great that he allows himself to be as accessible as he does, but still, to my capacity to understand where he will take the companies that he owns, I think is next level that I can't truly get a grasp on. But I think it's a good representation of how AI is going to infiltrate literally every facet of our life.
right, right. Well,
Yeah.
I would love for you to kind of like let's talk more on the micro level. I'd love to hear more about your business. What is it you do, and who do you do it for?
Well, we do it for corporate America is our primary audience and our primary clients and customers. And the AI that we have been able to infuse into our presentation support is what you and I are doing right now, where once again, prior to COVID, this really wasn't an active forum that felt healthy in terms of development because of the comparisons to a live presentation to a presentation that you're just giving on a video, and the similarities are so synonymous, and there's so much synergistic um, attributes that a good communicator will have, whether it's video, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's in front of 500 people or 5,000 people. When you're presenting to 5,000 people or 10,000 people, you're really presenting to one person at a time because of the eye contact that you'll have, just like the comedian. And you'll see there's this massive uh, trend with comedians that they do crowd work, and they'll have eye contact, and then they'll ask that person in the audience a very direct question, you single, or whatever their skit is they
Mhm.
begin asking those questions, and then they ask what their name is, and you could see that human connection happening in real time. So with AI in our business, we're using um, technology in a way that seemed untangible 5 years ago. So that really has been, oh, there we go, uh, a big uh, add-on that I think has been just incredibly beneficial to everybody,
Yeah.
where we can help somebody in real time on that same day who's preparing for a speech, where before that wasn't even something in the cards 5-10 years ago. So that to me is really, once again, it's the human connection that's making the difference, not so much the AI is the facilitating factor in the human connection, but it's really hard to read an instructional guide and feel more confident, opposed to getting somebody on camera taking a video and then pointing out all the better uh, kind of attributes that they're bringing to the table. So there's this old adage that it takes five positives to drown one negative. So if somebody is going to be giving a presentation and they have two or three different negative uh, ideas of what is going to hold them back and what's going to limit their ability to give a good presentation, we can point out 10 or 15 things that they're already doing that's really, really good. So within one short afternoon where a person began the day having concerns, they end the day with abundance of confidence because that we're utilizing AI.
Yeah.
So that to me is the nicest thing that we can do is really touch people in a way that you could never reach out to them before.
Yeah, I like it. You kind of shared some like high level examples. I'd love for you to share one real example of a customer that has used effective presentations to achieve a mean result. Now, you don't, leave out names, but do you have a, like
Sure.
a specific example? I'd love to hear.
Yeah, one of the common things within today's companies is the culture and the phrases that that culture uses. And the easiest example is a phrase that might sound like, you know what I mean? And they'll say something and then they'll say, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And the other person might be receiving this who's not in that culture, might think to themselves, no, I don't know what you mean. And these filler words, oh, so removing the filler words, removing the culture language that might not seem like it's even there in the when you're in the culture, you wouldn't even notice that it's there. And utilizing the the usage of video and taking video and having them see what they're doing with fillers, cleaning the fillers up, and then being able to deliver that language in a very powerful, precise way where their confidence goes through the roof because they know their message is very, very clear, where they're not thinking in terms of fillers when they're not speaking. So a pause for a lot of people is an uncomfortable time. So opposed to pausing, they will use fillers. Well, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Nope, still don't know what you mean. And I'm not sure what the ums or the ahs are there for as well. And we don't people in general are not so rude that they point it out and stop you in mid thought. They just graciously don't know what you mean, and they're waiting for you to deliver substance through the ums and the ahs. And highly intelligent, highly accomplished people are still doing it, and frequently it's happening while they're not aware of it. So having the opportunity to clean those up and have a person deliver a very clear, precise message, that's what's gratifying because it's much more efficient, it's much more focused, it's it's much more precise in the way that you allow the other person to digest the information and then make the focal point about the information about how they received it. And that's what I was referring to earlier, where it's the message can be externally focused about how it was received, not how it was delivered. Because that's probably the biggest error in communication, where you think, how is my presentation? Where you don't think about how it was received, you think how it was delivered.
Hmm.
How it was delivered is highly irrelevant. How it was received is the only thing that matters.
It's only man. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. So, I mean, effective communications or effective presentations has been around for how long?
Oh gosh. Oh, we're going on. Oh, you're going to trump me. I think about 25 years now.
25 years. So
Yeah.
my next question is kind of like, what does growth look like over the next 12 months for effective presentations? What are your
It's
guys' goals?
Well, it's booming. We've put in um, a new sales system with a new company that has increased the amount of videos that they're using and increased the route to market is much shorter. So we're experiencing a huge growth spurt right now and managing through that growth spurt because we've given the sales division to a third party company that is really doing a great job. So the future is exceptional. Within this last week, we've had over 149 leads, and that count was 3 days ago. So we're way ahead of what our expanded goals were, and we're taking one day at a time where we're seeing leads come in and then managing the leads. So, in terms of growth and over the course of the next 10 years, one of the things that we've been guarded against is just putting information out to put information out, where frequently, and I have absolutely no problem with this, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing because I don't believe that it is putting content out simply to have content out and have new content out for the sake of having new content out. I really don't think that that is a bad strategy. It's just a strategy that we have been very calculated not to do, because we want the quality of the content to be of the utmost respected level, that's really high level. Well, we've been able to just put together a lot of quality content over the last few weeks, and that growth has been exponential, and we're happy to see it. So the potential is boundless, and it's an exciting time, that's for sure.
That's on. Do you have like a 12-month goal, like where you guys want to be next year?
Well, the growth right now is also controlled by the number of teachers and coaches that we have on staff. So that has to be consistent. So that's why we're gravitating much more to the video side of things, because you can capture a lot more people in a short period of time, where you don't have to have a coach out of the office and dedicated into giving the seminars that they're traveling to do. So it's we're in that stage where we're trying to clarify exactly where our goals are,
Hmm.
and we're talking about the advancement of a performance division. With the performance division, there's so many attributes and moving parts to being a great presenter. One presenter who is great can be a great presenter because he's just really good at presenting. Another person might have to make sure that their sleep is on point, their diet is on point, their their food consumption is on point, their exercise is on point, their internal dialogue preparing up to that presentation is on point, so they're not sabotaging themselves prior to the presentation. So there's a lot that goes into the makeup of a good presenter,
Hmm.
and uh, greatness is made, it's just not born. So having a performance division is something that we're in the middle stages of developing, which would be a whole new division of the company, which is something we're really excited about, and that's it in its infancy stages. So we're developing that, and we'd like for that division to rival the current division, which is a huge undertaking and a really big goal
Yeah.
to even approach it with, but there's no reason why we can't. And with companies, there's always a desire to go above and beyond, and okay, so I've gone through this level, well, what's the next level? Or okay, I feel good about what I'm doing, but I know that there's something inside of me that says that I can be a heck of a lot better. How do I get to that level? Because yes, I know the ABCs of presenting, yes, I've practiced, yes, I've rehearsed it, but I became dehydrated during the speech. So I was not as smooth, and I was uh, not as focused, or I forgot to go to the bathroom before the speech, or and it might sound like very basic things. I ate right before the speech, so all the blood rushed to my stomach instead of my head, and I was not as quick as thought, and I wasn't as quick as my brain is capable of being in terms of thought and responsiveness, and how I would respond. I was a little bit lethargic. So, what are the better foods to eat in terms of presenting?
Yeah.
And you can get really granular, where I worked out too hard
Yeah.
prior to the speech, and I was stiff and immobile, and I didn't feel loose and agile during the way that I moved, and the way that I carried myself with my posture, and the way that I breathed, and I wasn't breathing through my diaphragm during pauses. And so, you go into the performance aspect of a human and how they present, it becomes a very big picture conversation.
Yeah.
And so that's, in terms of company goals, that's certainly one that we're addressing right now.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
it's the same as high performance athletes. Like you kind of described all the same things. Like, I played
yep.
college football for, 12 years, or I played football for 12 years. and you just labeled everything that you think about and you do. Uh, so
Very much so.
so I mean,
Yeah.
so you guys have seen a huge growth spurt, 149 leads. You're looking to do this performance division. Like, where are the bottlenecks that you're experiencing around pipeline outreach, lead conversion?
Probably just human power, just the number of employees that can contribute, all moving in the right direction, and the efficiency that we move. So it's and I think a lot of times when anybody tries to improve, they want to take bigger steps and leaps than what may be in everybody's best interest. And that is something that we're trying to monitor, and we're trying to grow in a calculated way, and grow in a way that is sensible and strategic, and not only makes sense for us as a company, but what capacity can we do the best for our clients, and making sure that the clients are always the first priority, and making sure that when we do um, get into something that is newer, then we can handle that capacity and handle that growth. And it's the same with the adding of the videos, because there's some coaches who are better in person, some coaches are better with being on Zoom calls and video conferences. So it's really ensuring that everybody's really on the same page, really providing the same level of services that they would, whether they're in person or whether on their video, and really human power, and making sure that we connect with the right people at the right time for the right reasons, is really where we're at. It's growth is great, but trying to grow at a pace that you're not capable of maintaining that really high quality level of customer service and support, then it becomes counterproductive.
Yeah, in fact, that's kind of lead into what I was going to ask you next. You kind of answered a little bit of it, but like, where do you see the biggest opportunity or risk when it comes to scaling your go to market, go into market efforts?
Well, I think it's unfortunate to say this on some levels, but the certainty of helping people communicate in person, the demand is only getting bigger because of our ability to not have to do it. But yet, the need to do it and the importance of communicating and connecting in person is never going to go away. It's always going to have this very personal, intimate feel when you go to a presentation, or you go to a big event where it could be some trade show that you're going to be in front of a lot of people, so you could be giving multiple presentations, one, or you could be going and talking to 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 people at a convention, or you may be giving a presentation to a board of governors in a meeting. So the ability to communicate in person is never going away. We need it as humans. The need for human connection is never going away,
Hmm.
and that need is only getting more severe as AI improves.
Hmm.
So those two opposite pulling forces are actually helping us build our already stay in place business model, that it's an oddity, because it helps. AI's disconnection of people helps with the need to be connected to people.
Hmm.
And it sounds very oxymoronish to say, but it's very, very true.
Right. No, I understand what you're saying for sure. So I know you've said so many great nuggets. We could continue talking for a very long time, but I'd love to transition to just a couple of questions I love asking extremely intelligent people like yourself with a ton of experience is, what is the best piece of business advice you have ever received personally?
Wow, that's a great question. I would say that there's the combination of staying humble and staying hungry is invaluable. So and staying very open to learning, and enjoying the learning process. And the best advice I think I've ever received is to there's really is two sides to this advice. The first side is to stay curious and stay open to learning, where you're seeking to learn and understand before you're seeking to give advice. Because unwarranted advice, regardless of how good it is still unwarranted, and it's going to fall on deaf ears.
Hmm.
So if you stay curious and you stay humble, you're going to be well received because people really appreciate it. They appreciate not being interrupted. They appreciate you hearing them out. And there's tremendous value in it because they felt heard and
Hmm.
they feel validated. So that is half.
Hmm.
The other half is stay true to who you are and never hesitate contributing when the opportunity presents itself. And it's you're not the first person to ask the question or to think of the question when it comes about. Other people are thinking it too. So never be shy to ask the question, never be shy to deliver what you're there to deliver.
Hmm.
And to be apprehensive about it and to be apologetic about it would be very off base. So really the combination of both, and it goes to both sides of communicating, is to have healthy dialogue. There has to be a level of confidence when it's given, and there has to be a level of curiosity when it's received. And that's really it was delivered in a much simpler way when it was delivered, but to me, and when I really understood it, that combination to me has been the easiest way to wake up in the morning and to be excited about the day, because you're going to learn a bunch of stuff,
Yeah.
not just one thing. You're going to learn a lot of things,
Yeah.
and then you're going to be given the opportunity to contribute to the growth of others, and that to me is also exciting because you're hopefully making the world a little bit better of a place once you're doing that on a consistent basis.
Yeah, I smile because how many times I have not raised my hand and asked a question and someone else asks it and they're like, that's a good question. I'm like, oh, should I? It sounds
Yeah,
dumb to me. Like, I want to know this, but it sounds dumb to me, but then it's not, like I question
right.
myself all the time. So I appreciate you saying that. That speaks to me. So my second to last question, uh, what would you tell your younger self? Let's say, because I have a 13-year-old daughter, stepdaughter. What would you tell your younger self, what's the best piece of advice?
Have greater respect for time. You don't get it back. And there's when you're younger, you have a tendency to enjoy life in a capacity that time is endless and it's never going to end. Where within that taking time for granted also takes the appreciation for what you're doing away as well.
Hmm.
So really understanding that time is finite. There is only so many hours in life. So not having an assumption that time is going to be there. So if you've been thinking about calling a loved one and telling you love them, you probably should do it.
Prompting.
Uh, going golfing, and both of my parents passed in 2016, and I don't get to ask them questions that I would love to ask and love to say, hey, what about this and what about that? So when there's questions that you want to ask your parents, you should ask them, and to prioritize that and to really understand the value of those times and those moments where I'm really fortunate to be in a good place in life where life is easy to appreciate.
Hmm.
And it's easier for me because I have the advantage of being born in East Africa, where uh, life is much different, where um, if we spoke about politics and we talked about the politics of some of the African countries, not only from my home country, but from the other home countries that surround it, it would be bewildering to think that anybody would really complain about the opportunities that we have in this country. But yet, if you live here, it seems to be the topic of the day is and it's one complaint after the other. Well, okay, I can appreciate that, but if you just appreciate the fact that you have a warm bed, running
Yeah.
water, lights that you can just flick a switch on and they go. You could drink water out of the tap if you're thirsty. Like all these little itty bitty things that are not little things. They're very life necessity oriented things that we should never take for granted. And so is time. And if you're in healthy and you have your health, that's a big deal, and
Yeah.
that's a really big deal. So appreciating all the things that you can do, and and that would be a big message that I would send. I used to do this, and I still do this to this day. And I started it when I was a young man. Is I would walk across the parking space of a handicap space, and I would take a moment and say a level of gratitude, because how many people would be, they'd give anything to be able to walk across this same space, but they have to park in it. Like that's a big deal. So it was a great reminder every day, because just about every day we're going to walk across one of those handicap parking spaces. So it's just today, keeping that attitude of gratitude and really appreciating everything that you can appreciate in a day. Appreciate it and appreciate the time that you get, because it's dwindling. It's every
Yes.
day you get less.
I agree with you 100%. And in fact, I call it when you say you have a little thought that popped in your head, I've learned to call it a prompting. I've been taught to call it prompting and to act on
Yeah,
your promptings. You think about your dad, call your dad. He's not going to be around forever. Tell him you love him. Tell him thank you.
yeah.
Express gratitude for the things that you have. Because if you have gratitude, when you express gratitude, you can't be depressed.
You cannot feel depressed and feel gratitude simultaneously.
Correct.
That is 100% accurate.
Awesome. Well, my last thing, please tell people where they can find you and either ask questions or get in touch with you.
It's really easy. Just effectivepresentations.com, plural, not singular, just effectivepresentations.com. And you'll find the contact information. You'll find the company information. If you want to get to me, you could get to me that way. The phone numbers on there, very, very simple. Effectivepresentations.com is really the most efficient, easiest way to reach out. And you don't have to uh, do anything other than reach out if you want some kind of guidance, because we're not after your credit card, we're after the support we provide. So if you're wondering about something, or if you what I could promise you is that we're going to first seek to help the question that you have, opposed to try and get you to sign up for anything that we have. It's the exact opposite. There's absolutely no pressure. So if we can help in any way, shape, or form, we'd love to hear from you about it, about anything and everything, because there's a lot that goes into giving presentations, and it's not just about the presentation, and we know that. So
Yeah,
so reach out, and we're happy to help.
sounds good. Thanks so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for your time, Josh. I really appreciated it, and thanks for all that you're doing. We need more of you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. That's good. I have another meeting coming up here in about 30 seconds.
Okay.
So I apologize, but
No, you're great.
I would love to chat with you more. I heard so many amazing things that you're talking about that you guys' business is doing, and I'd love to ask you a few more questions. Like, I feel like I have some value I could offer, and if we work together, great. If we not, then maybe you can take some of these ideas and run with them yourself. So like, I don't really have a whole lot of time to like talk about it. Like, I really have to jump right now. But do you think we could touch base next week, and I could ask you a few more like detailed questions? Obviously, not on camera or recorded, right?
Yeah, love to, and I'd love to learn more about that. So why don't we exchange contact information through LinkedIn and go from there? Does that sound
Yeah,
good?
yeah. I'll send it to you, and then I'll send you another link. I'll just send you my link that you can pick a time that works best for you.
Sounds great. Love it.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.